Hey there everyone, welcome back to game 2 between Halimawers and WaningMoon. Sorry for the issues right there, but it looks like we are all set to go. So WaningMoon playing Warrior again as he has lost, so he decided to stick with that class. Halimawers forced to play another class though, is not allowed to play Warlock anymore, so he's now going for Paladin here. Looks like he's playing a Zoo version of Paladin, I guess. Not too sure about that, but WaningMoon having the answer for that one in the form of the Fiery War Axe. And even if Halimawers does play the second Knife Juggler, doesn't really matter at this point. Also, I really like WaningMoon's hand right here. Has the Grim Patron already, has a Whirlwind to trigger it at some point. WaningMoon is going to start taking damage slowly but surely though, so might have to use the Whirlwind right now just to get rid of those two small minions right there. I'm not gonna do it though, so Halimawers now equipping that True Silver Champion. So WaningMoon now only gaining the 1 card instead of the potential 3, or potential 2 rather, if he did, had he played that Whirlwind, is dropping ever so slightly to 19 health right here. Second Whirlwind is pulled here, so can maybe start to deal some extra damage right here, but Halimawers has some setup for next turn as well. South Sea Deckhand, Knife Juggler, Wolf Rider. Armor Smith definitely gonna help right now as well. The Whirlwind is being played here, and spending the last weapon stack to get rid of that one. That's gonna be a little bit rough because the Knife Juggler next turn is gonna wreak some havoc, or is gonna at least keep on standing, unless WaningMoon actually does decide to use an Inner Rage against it. Wolf Rider now also being dropped on the field. WaningMoon dropped to 16 hit points. Death's Bite finally being pulled here. Inner Rage, double Inner Rage and Whirlwind being played, so that's going to be 4 patrons for WaningMoon, but is it gonna be enough? Halimawers doesn't seem like he has lethal next turn. No, he does not. Not with the South Sea Deckhand and that one. Inner Rage being used, and now WaningMoon with an amazing patron board on the field. What he has doesn't really matter. South Sea Deckhand, Ironbeak Owl, and Blessing of Might. Now that South Sea Deckhand can't charge, of course, and the Ironbeak Owl can only silence one of the patrons, which can still which means the other 2 can still multiply. So WaningMoon suddenly in a great position here, playing his cards properly, clearing out the board. Was a little hesitant about him using the weapon stack to take care of that Argon Squire over the Knife Juggler, but worked out for him, and now he has a great feel to show for it. Even if Halimawers did have something, WaningMoon could just probably run over it. Can even play the Battle Rage at this point to refresh his hand if he so chooses. But instead does decide to armor up. Kind of surprised he did not decide to go for it, but probably wants to draw even more cards the next turn. Halimawers at 11 health right now. Leper Gnome being pulled. It's not going to be enough, sadly. Victory is WaningMoon's, and score is now tied up 1-1.
Furion versus Uther. I will fight with honor.
I must protect the wild.
Hey there everyone, welcome back to game 3 between WaningMoon and Halimawers. WaningMoon winning with Warrior, so that class is wiped from the table. So he decided to go with Druid here. So let's take a quick look here. Refreshment Vendor, restore 4 health to each hero. Not too sure if that is going to be too useful, but it will be useful in the sense that WaningMoon will be able to survive a little bit of the massive attacks coming in from Halimawers, who hasn't started out with the worst hand, to be honest. Double Knife Juggler, and no way for WaningMoon to wipe the field properly. It's pretty good for him, to be honest. Dr. Boom now being pulled. Zombie Chow just being played here for obvious reasons, just to set up anything really, but Halimawers with the Cog Hammer. Give a random friendly minion Divine Shield and Taunt. No coin to play it just yet, so I feel that Halimawers actually wants to wait until turn 5, I guess, until he can play both the Knife Jugglers and the Knife Juggler and the Hammer, but does decide to go for a Knife Juggler right now, just to go on aggressive here. Zombie Chow probably going to trade itself with the Knife Juggler just to make sure that WaningMoon doesn't receive too many unnecessary damage here, as expected. And of course Halimawers not gaining too much health from that as well. WaningMoon is probably going to coin for Sludge Belcher next turn. That's gonna put some wrenches in the plans of Halimawers, because of course he is playing that zoo kind of deck. Of course does still have the Iron Beak Owl, but a 3/5 body is still kind of big to deal with for health for both players. But Halimawers still at 30, so it doesn't really matter again. WaningMoon just playing it very, very slowly, very surely. A Knife Juggler being dropped as well. Blessing of Might coming in. And Halimawers still has that Divine Favor to refresh his hand. I feel like we need a fun name for this Zoo Paladin. I think like Zooladin or something, or Palazoo. Either is fine. WaningMoon dropped to 21 at this point. Really needs to do something. Halimawers in the lead here. As far as life goes, of course, he still has that Divine Favor, so if WaningMoon now
I must safeguard them.
decides to play a lot of cards, he's probably going to coin Shapeshift to take care of the Abusive Sergeant or Wrath, just to draw a card. Like, if WaningMoon knew that Halimawers had a Divine Favor in hand, he would probably play the Wrath for 3 damage onto the Knife Juggler to make sure that he doesn't get as much cards, but does decide to go for the 1 damage. Gets the Sylvanas for his trouble. Leroy Jenkins even being pulled here by Halimawers. This is an aggressive Paladin deck if I ever saw one. A lot less setup than the Muster for Battle Quartermaster combo we've seen in the past. Muster for Battle for 2 cards being used. An Iron Beak Owl and a Blessing of Might. Iron Beak Owl going to be pretty crucial for the next couple of turns when WaningMoon wants to set up defensively. I'm sorry about the cards popping up and down. It's the players going through them. Can't do too much about that one. Sylvanas Windrunner being played over to Sludge Belcher, surprisingly. So apparently WaningMoon is fearing some kind of an Iron Beak Owl play or something like that. I feel like he's fearing the Owl more than the potential damage coming in straight forward. Or he might be baiting the Iron Beak Owl, saying like, hey, you need to silence this before I take over anything that you have. Because in a zoo deck, like, Iron Beak Owl is such a common staple, just to take down those taunters and big bodies just to get past them. Or even maybe silence some negative effects, or debuffs or stuff like that. Silverhand Recruit being dropped for 2. And turn simply pass, and now WaningMoon can start to go to town with this Ancient of War, making it a 5/10. Setting up really defensively. That's going to be 1 owl at the very least wasted by Halimawers to get past this behemoth, and then the second Sludge Belcher is going to follow after that one as well. So now Halimawers actually losing a whole lot of momentum here because he needs to sacrifice a lot of resources to get through this. He needs to sacrifice one of his owls to get rid of the Taunter, otherwise he can't get through it, and he needs to sacrifice another one to get rid of the Sludge Belcher. All in the meantime, WaningMoon is just going to keep hitting with that Sylvanas Windrunner for 5 damage over and over and over and over again, so it's going to be at least 5 damage every single turn.
Reporting for duty.
WaningMoon drawing into the Ancient of Lore, and I think that might just be the nail in the coffin for Halimawers, because now WaningMoon has draw power and, if needed, health. The second Taunter out on the field. Taking it slowly but surely. Halimawers now dropped to 16. Does he have anything? Shielded Minibot being drawn here, but no weapon to give the South Sea Deckhand charge to boost it with Blessing or Might or anything like that. I think Halimawers has pretty much sung his last song in this game at the very least. As Halimawers has no way to kill off any of the minions right now, especially now with Leora Jenkins not being played. So WaningMoon, all he has to pretty much do is shapeshift for game. Victory is going to go to WaningMoon, and score is now 2-1.
Uther versus Uther. I will fight with honor. Justice demands retribution.
Hey there everyone, and welcome back to Game 4 between Halimawers and WaningMoon. So it looks like this is going to be a Paladin mirror matchup, but this is going to be Zoo Paladin versus Secret Paladin. So I'd like to take a quick moment to talk about the Mysterious Challenger. I think it has been touted as one of the best cards in the Grand Tournament expansion because one of each Paladin secret, it's so hard to get through 4 secrets. I'm not too sure if it's going to stack with the Secret Keeper itself, but nevertheless, it looks like WaningMoon is on the aggressive now with that 4/3 Secret Keeper. Passing turn over to Halimawers, who has a lot of small critters in his hand yet again. Knife Juggler, Blessing, Abusive, Leopard Gnome, Divine Favor. Small things like that. WaningMoon needs to start drawing some cards for his own here. Of course, if he does manage to get to that Mysterious Challenger, he will go +4 essentially. And ooh, this might be a good bait here by WaningMoon because that secret is, of course, Noble Sacrifice. Get down! And that means the Divine Shield is going to be popped, and that means it is in killing range of that Abusive Sergeant. Now, Divine Favor being pulled by WaningMoon himself.
Shields up. Red alert.
Halimawers still an okay spot right here. Now it's kind of like a chicken game. Who gets to use their divine favor the most optimally? Of course, it's a little bit of a weird curve as well, because say for example one player uses divine favor and gains like a lot of cards. If in the late game the other player who still has the divine favor can expend his hand and then return the favor with the divine favor and gain as much cards again. So both players kind of like waiting when the best optimal time is, when to refresh their hand. Ironbeak Owl looks to be card of choice here for Halimawers. This is just a brawl between small critters here left and right, and I'm kind of expecting WaningMoon to just trade off equally.
Put this apple on your head.
And kind of hope, he's probably hoping that Reinforce is gonna land a dagger into the owl, which it does. So that's a free 2 damage onto Halimawers, who has pulled into a Knife Juggler and drawn into a True Silver Champion. So he's gonna start taking a few hits here and there. Only -1 overall. And WaningMoon is just waiting. He just wants that one more turn. Divine Favor will give him 2 more cards, so it looks like he is going to go for the earlier play. Competitive Spirit and Muster for Battle. So Competitive Spirit being played as well. Now WaningMoon is kind of hesitant to play the Mysterious Challenger, of course, since he wants to get the maximum amount of use from it. Redemption triggering. Reinforce gonna
Reporting for duty.
land as well. The Abusive Sergeant dying yet again. And now WaningMoon can actually play that Mysterious Challenger because his next secret is going to be expended.
None of your business.
So a Mysterious Challenger drops on the field. Look at that, 5 secrets out. That's a gorgeous thing to see, actually. Noble Sacrifice, Repentance, Redemption, Avenge, and Competitive Spirit. And that is going to be pretty hard. Noble Sacrifice being used. Get down. That Silverhand Recruit dying, and it's probably going to be a respawn. And the Avenge coming out as well, giving the Challenger 9-8. Redemption coming in as well. Get down coming back. The Defender returned to defend yet again.
I must move quickly.
Time is running out though, and with that 9-8 Mysterious Challenger out on the field, that's a huge boon for WaningMoon. Blessing of Might is gonna be played here, so it looks like he's trying to trade equally here. Time is running out though. Seems like that was a mistake, though, as he was not able to attack with the Abusive Sergeant anymore, apparently. And well played comes out. WaningMoon is gonna win this one. No secrets in Halimawers. His field attacks with the Challenger and attacks with the Defender. WaningMoon 3-1 moves on towards the next round. So congratulations.